Alright, fuckers, welcome back to artwod beginner roadmap, specifically the grind node, the next section, which is about the beginnings of form manipulation, right? Right now, we're going to be practicing the first part of the grind node, single round of these boxes. What the actual grind node is they show you a box. Right now, I'm going to use this one. So they show you a box, which is highlighted, or I guess outlined, and then they provide an example, like, okay, do a rounding. First way, call to action, by the way, draw along with me, right? Do this with me. We all know you don't practice your fundamentals nearly as much as you should, nor do you actually seem to enjoy drawing the fundamentals. Yet you're actually retarded if you don't, because that's like saying, I want to learn how to play the piano, but I don't want to use my fingers to play. Yeah, so if you want to use your asshole to play the piano or use it or to draw, then please go ahead and get the fuck off this channel. But if you do want to improve and you want to derive enjoyment from improving, then yeah, let's do this together. Let's fucking single round. I'm gonna be making it slightly more complex. I will be doing more roundings, right, on like more planes, and perhaps adding additional like boxes or subtractions, whatever. So then, for you, do your limit, right, or obviously a bit past your limit. Previously, not only did I lose like 5 minutes audio in the last session just a half hour ago, but I tried to make them more complicated, but I realized in doing so, in making them more complicated, I was finding it very difficult to visualize the entire box, right? The grid itself. So, throw aside the pride, the hubris, the ego, and going forward, I'm going to make them a little bit more simple. That way I can actually rotate them and be able to envision them, and I'm really going to focus more. I feel as if I didn't focus enough. So with that being said, draw along, stop being a fucking waste man. Or woman, because women can be waste, right? Piles of garbage. We're not sexist here. We just want to repeal the 19th. But, okay. Let's do this. And I'm really going to focus on visualizing and drawing, of course, a little bit slower, which is hilarious because I'm already a very slow drawer. Sure. And yeah, again, we're trying to make them a little bit more simple this time around. So just keep it basic, much like your mother. Okay. That was already a huge mistake, which is amazing. Which is fucking amazing. And then this time, it's just going to be something like this. Again, I'm really trying to keep that box, portions, the grid, everything in mind while I do this. Right? I'm most likely going to be spending hours. Not most likely, I'm most definitely I'm going to be spending hours on this. Because it's the only way to improve, is to spend hours on something. Right? If you believe otherwise, then you're just a fucking idiot. Let's see. Okay. That was incorrect. Wonderful. That was... Oh! I'm also a fucking idiot. Because I didn't plan ahead. Right? I didn't finish this. But at least I'm the right type of idiot. And yeah. Okay. That'll be the simple shape. Right? That we're now going to rotate. And yeah, do our best to get this down. I'm also going to be taking a lot more time to really think about this. And I mean to really think about this. Because the whole goal of this entire thing is to see the grid. Right? That's the entire goal. It's to see... Oh, see, that's not correct. Wonderful, I messed it up here quite a bit. That's the entire goal for me, right? Is I want to be able to see the grid. So here I already messed it up quite a bit. That's what I want. No, I'm not gonna shy away from mistakes. I'm just gonna do my best. The main thing is I just want to make sure I'm actually genuinely making an effort to practice and to visualize. Right? Proportions have already been absolutely thrown out the window. So again, that's another thing to keep in mind, right? See, and it's not even connecting properly because again, I didn't think of that. Made this too thick, made this too small, didn't make it thick enough. So myriad of issues. But that is how we grow. Right? Again, it's very important to think about the box. And that's the thing, right? It's like I have to think about the box while I create these rounded forms, which is diverging here, which is also incredibly difficult, right? And then we see this is a bit larger. It's not perfect either, which is okay. It's not about being perfect, but I just want to make sure that I at least understand what I'm aiming to draw, right? Okay, I've messed that up over there, which is why I'm trying to keep these shapes relatively simple. It's still obviously outside my comfort zone. That's the most important thing. It's still obviously outside my comfort zone. Because if it isn't, then we're just back to square one. Where I'm only doing what I already know, which is stupid. If I'm only doing what I already know, then I might as well not even draw. Because there's no improvement. There's no genuine attempt at trying to conceptualize or understand something new. Funny enough, these are similar, but that definitely isn't. So I'm gonna rest my brain, and I'm gonna again make a genuine effort. These diagonal roundings is where I struggle with. So we're gonna keep practicing, keeping it simple. We'll have one shape that's diagonal rounding, and then we'll have one extrusion or the fuck, I guess addition or subtraction. That's much more simple to understand. At least one addition or subtraction that is a bit simpler, right? Really trying to keep proportion in mind, but it's wonderful. This is amazing. Okay, let me rest my brain. But this is the beauty and the difficulty of art, is that we don't have the liberty to we don't have the liberty to not think, right? See, now this is again a bit more rounded, and I guess I could just keep this shape as it is, right? Because I have to think about that. Then we have to go inwards like so, and then outwards. Meanwhile, I have to keep the entire box in mind as I do this. Which is a skill in and of itself. And again, I'll always refer to these as skills and nothing more. This is okay, but this is very off, right? Is there something else I could have done? Yeah, that's very off. That's why this ended up being much longer. That's a bit better. See, that's where it's connected. And I guess we could... Is there something I could do? No, I feel as if this is decent enough. So let's just rotate this. Right? Again, this will give me a great opportunity to really practice my understanding of form and how everything is really in just guidelines, right? It's all just a bunch of guidelines which we have to envision in our mind, which I did a relatively poor job here, but that's how we grow. If I didn't do a poor job, then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to realize I did a poor job, right? That's the way I like to think about it. That's the way I encourage you to think about it as well. You notice how every time I make a mistake, I'm consciously making the effort to assign language that is, wow, nice, there's a mistake, wonderful, that's a good thing, right? We're reinforcing positivity towards the failings, right? The errors, because again, I'm doing my absolute best to not make these mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I'm literally doing as well as I can to make sure that this isn't happening, but it will. It inevitably will, because I am unskilled at this. Right? This is the beauty of neuroscience, and the fact that when you do your absolute best to ensure mistakes will not happen, but yet you expect and you look forward to those mistakes and just sheer repetition, it completely I guess highlights the error recognition and correction process, which is again why we want our eye to be able to see more, and we always want to be able to think about it better, right? It's the only reason. See, now I know there's a bit of a proportion issue here, but we're gonna work on that, right? And then we can have something like see, now that's pretty off. Somewhere along this line I fucked it up. Probably because this line here isn't clear enough. This straight, this diagonal. And that is a great thing. Because again, I'm constantly trying to think about the box. The box, the contours, your mother, all of those things at once. Just possible. In fact, I have done it multiple times, much to your dismay. See? Okay, but see, that's a huge mistake. Wonderful. I'm not gonna rest my brain. It hasn't been that long, but I'm still really trying to make that concentrated effort. For me, sometimes, or many times, it feels as if like, okay, am I really trying as hard as I could be? But the answer is I'm always hard. So yes, I am trying as hard as I could be. I mean, jokes aside, I think that's anybody who is striving for more feels, right? But as long as we are thinking as much as we can, time and neuroscience will do the rest, right? This time my fucking mic I charged the shit out of it for like the past 40 minutes, so it should be good. Again, these subtle changes in diagonals. This is why this is great for my penmanship as well, right? Now we can do something like this. And then How do I want to do this? Right. So I obviously cut off a little bit here, but perhaps I can. I forgot to add an addition thing here, so I don't want to make that mistake again. Perhaps we can. Yeah, do something like this. There you go. Again, trying to think about the entire box. It's also part of it is memorizing the shape, which is inherently also very difficult. Right? That's why we really, really have to be aware of the roundings we are making. Even when there were, that was very difficult. I don't even know if I visualized that properly. Even when there will inherently be errors to be made, right? Like here, I can curve it a little, and hopefully that was decent. Again, penmanship is another part of this entire equation. Penmanship, visualizing it all, right? Confidently maintaining that visualization to the best of our ability. Even though that was a complete mistake. Just following through. Right? So, it's not bad. Now we rotate. Now we rotate and try to keep generally, without referring to this much, this shape much, how this would look in a different angle, right? Try to make it a bit more of a skewed perspective. See, this angle is very difficult for my hand, right? You have to remember, I'm still trying to think about the rounding that is occurring. I believe I have the liberty to create this entire line here. We can even do something like this, actually, just to really hone in on the form. The fact that these are just boxes being manipulated. Yeah, we could just do something like this. Right? Just a cutout of sorts. And that can be reflected on this side as well. You know, like, and the thing is, like, because this is all rounding, there's no hard edge to define it. Our mind technically has to create that definition, which is good, which is exactly what we want. Now, if I were, because I have rotated it, I have to think about what is the relation here. Yeah, that is the relation. Cool. See, so I can do something like, again, I'm just trying to reinforce the roundings that I've made. Nothing more, nothing less, apart from visualizing the entire thing. Ensuring that, see, that should have been rounded as well, actually. That was an okay rounding. Again, see, I'm glad I'm taking my time now. We're really trying to visualize this thing. It's like while I do this, I have to be thinking ahead as well, primarily. See, and that was a bit off. But this is the beauty of this exercise. The fact that you just keep going. This thing comes up here, some over here. Okay, you have to realize that it juts a bit out. Something like that, right? And again, it stops around here. Wait. I'm trying to think what side I'm on. Oh yeah, okay. I know now. So it's something like that, right? Maybe maybe I shouldn't have said I'm gonna make slightly less complex shapes, but I think this is slightly less complex. I mean, it's simple, that's for sure. It is simple, I won't deny that. So is that rotated correctly? It is, but this is obviously off center compared to that. Right. Something like that. There you go. Now that definitely worked my brain. But these two perspectives are kind of similar in the sense that they're both going this way. We should have something else going in an alternate direction. We think. Because obviously I want to rotate it in a way that makes sense to me. Okay. We could do something like this, perhaps? Yeah, we could do something like this. Okay, again, keeping proportion as mine is always extremely important. Although I may have already butchered it slightly. Yeah, this entire thing was not rounded correctly whatsoever. But it's okay. It's completely alright. Yeah, I hope by seeing how much time I take on this, it reinforces to you just how much time that you have the right, to be honest, to take on your learning process as well. Because it is very slow. Trust me when I say that it's very slow. So we have to give ourselves genuinely, the ability to just practice without worrying about whether we're doing it fast enough or not, right? Not to say that you could be thinking that, but if you are, here's a reason for you to not. Okay. Kind of converge this a little bit here, so let's just I think I lost it a little bit here, right? Yeah, kind of lost it a little bit. It's not jutting out properly, and that makes no sense. It doesn't open up that way. That's good. because I made a mistake. Yeah, so that was very difficult. Wonderful. That was very difficult. All right, I'm going to rest my brain. I encourage you to do the same. Let's just all relax for a couple seconds. Why don't we? Yeah, good stuff. Okay. How many more of these boxes do I have left to draw? Just one of the sample boxes. After that, I'll create my own. I mean, it's all the same shit. We're just gonna create one box that's highlighted, or I guess provided, in order to create our little shape, and then we move on. This one's a bit larger, right? It's supposed to be converging more, but kind of unintentionally turned into a one-point perspective of sorts. It's okay. I could just converge it right now. There you go. That's what it's supposed to be like. More so, and just converge that. And same with this. This is supposed to be converging a bit more. Whatever. It doesn't have to be exactly accurate. But yeah, rounding is very difficult, especially when it comes to your lines, right? Like, look, I'm going to do another diagonal one. And we want to envision it in the grid, right? Like, that is how we want to see it. See, that's too harsh. And then we could have something softer here, which is again very difficult before it goes to a straight. Like, it's supposed to be, this is very organic, right? We're kind of tiptoeing on organic forms here with this. And now we can make something even more difficult, because I'm going to do this. And this is the shape now. This is the extrusion, I guess, which is just something simple. We'll just keep it very simple. Right. But you see how this would require, I don't know why I'm talking so quietly, but I hope you can see how this would require fine line motor skills, right? Line control. At least the way I'm approaching it. Because we do want to extend. See, I already fucked it up a little. But again, I can fix it, hopefully. Okay, yeah, so I did mess it up. I messed that up. It's diverging quite a bit. And this is actually diverging quite a bit. But see, that's a very difficult shape to draw. So it's a good thing that I've understood that, right? This shape that I keep trying to get back to, right? And that's where the box comes in. Because again, I will just hopefully, to the best of my ability, that's incorrect. I curved that way too much. Still gotta think about the box. Right. So see, the thing is, like, I'm gonna obviously keep doing what's difficult. So right now, this is very difficult for me, these types of shapes. But the thing is that even a type of shape that I want to draw? Right? It's kind of boring. If anything, I should focus on symmetry as well, because that's also going to help quite a bit But you know, more than anything, this is just a practice in improving my spatial reasoning, right? So I don't think there's, I do think there's merit to drawing something like that. This is also not extruding as much as it should. Yeah, if it's all for the sake of spatial reasoning, then I think it makes complete sense to practice this. See, it doesn't hurt to. This is actually a lot better, apart from this mistake here. It's quite a bit better. Although it's actually really small. This got astronomically smaller. So that's a huge mistake, right? That's an incredible mistake. And the proportions are very off. Yeah, that is so tiny. That is so incredibly tiny. That's hilarious how fucking small that is. I'm gonna just draw it again, I guess. So at least I can say I tried. What type of box am I even trying to make here? Clearly I've established something like this. Right? Okay, that's not too bad. Still proportion-wise has a lot of issues, but it's okay. That line is very bad, and it's misaligned here, so that's something we have to consider as well. Because again, this is all being put into a box, right? Yeah, see? So I clearly struggle with that a lot. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, now I have the liberty to create my own boxes, which doesn't really make a difference. But it's already been half an hour. Let's take our time even more. Right? So let me just, I don't know, create maybe a longer box like this. Right? Cool. Let's see what we can do. Again, I know I'm trying to keep it simple, but I feel as if I have a tendency to make it more complicated. Keeping it simple is what allows growth, right? So let's there you go. That's relatively simple. Right? And we can just have something like, okay. Because again, I do want to keep perspective in mind. This is a really good practice in perspective. Specifically, like visualizing that box, right? We'll do something like this. Okay. So yeah, we'll do something like this. You can see I'm trying to make a concentrated effort to really see this grid here. Hopefully the subtlety in my lines is proving that. Hopefully. And There you go, we'll just do something like that. So obviously I actually should have reciprocated it here. Okay. Simple, but there's... And that's obviously misaligned, and this line is incorrect. But there is a degree of complication. Because now I have to think about rotating it, which just in and of itself is very difficult. But let's think. Okay, I have an idea. The thing is, I'm gonna, moving forward now, really focus on visualizing it as I'm drawing it. Both the box as well as the entire form in and of itself, right? That's decent in terms of perspective, I would say. And then we have something like this, right? Should be around there, and then we should get this. Yeah, and this is just going in like so. Not perfect, actually, because you see it's diverging. Or it's not, it's misaligned, sorry, not diverging, it's misaligned. But this is what will allow me to really see the shapes that I need to draw. And again, I'm only looking at this. Oof. I'm trying to only keep my eye on this part while zooming out and seeing everything else. Which is obviously also very difficult. Because it's misaligned here, misaligned a bit here, right? And then again, we have to keep in mind that hold up, can't fucking think right now or speak right now, but we also have to keep in mind that the actual rounding that's occurring isn't incredible either, right? But that's actually pretty okay. I think that's actually pretty fucking okay, all things considered, right? Thank goodness my mic is still working, god damn it. Really good brain workout. That's all this is, basically. You're building your spatial reasoning. It can only be beneficial in all other aspects of life, like childbirth. But let's see. Like, yeah, there's a lot of issues, but I just gotta keep trying. And I will go back to these shapes. If these look horrendous, that's because my practice of these shapes is horrendous, right? And that's a good thing. That means the sky's the limit with this. These have a bit more order, which is why they're easier for me to do. But they're still very difficult, don't get me wrong. Oh, damn, I've been holding that burp in since last quote-unquote episode. That finally fucking came out. Now I just gotta think about how I'm gonna rotate this. Hold up. How am I gonna do it? Okay, so something like... Yeah, okay, that's not bad. So... Oh, I made that a bit too short, but it's okay. And I misaligned that. But these are all things we live with now, right? Yeah, these are all things we live with now. Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. Okay, so this we can just extend out. Basically everything here is completely fine. I don't have to do anything. This is just, I say just, but it's still very difficult practice in aligning the spatial reasoning, right? So it's okay, honestly. Relatively misaligned. This curve could have been better, but that's how we do, he said gallantly. Okay, so if it's coming in like this, something like that, right? And it's, if I'm seeing it correctly, something like that. There you go. Same thing here. A bit misaligned. Also made that mistake. Is that really all I see from this side? Possibly. There's nothing else to really connect, but there was a huge mistake here. This should have been a bit lower down. This one, I believe. But yeah, you see, and then we can just, if we want to like just add little form indications like Antonio always jizzes over. There you go. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna rest my brain, and then we're gonna keep trying to do it like this, right? I want to really get the diagonals. I just want to focus on it because it really highlights the nuance in rounding that can occur, right? So what type of box? Let's just do something like, and make it this big. That should be good enough. Cool. This is too long as well, I believe. But yeah, good practice, good practice. Anyways, I'm resting my brain. Okay, but perhaps I have to simplify it even further, right? Because if adding all these different curves is fucking with my brain, then perhaps just doing something like, maybe we'll just start with one curve, right? Something like this. Again, I do have to think about, that's a bit too much of a curve, but I do have to think about again. The little diagonals that are being made as I create these contours. Yeah, guys, really, really, really good exercise for line control. That even makes sense. Maybe not really. Still obviously figuring out the shapes, as well as I go on. But you see how this shit already looks more hard surface? It doesn't really need to be perfect, but it has to be your best effort. See, so if that's the box I'm making, I need to make sure it's, there you go, see? Same thing here. Yeah, it's very, very difficult to, and this is a bit smaller too, which I didn't intend, but we're here now, so we just gotta roll, almost fucking goggled on my own tongue. We have to roll with it. Okay, now how would that look? Look on this side. It would, okay, it would look like, well, misaligned it. So we'll just pretend like it's converging, so that way it makes sense. Yeah, see, we can still kind of work around things. Let's see, add a little bit of foreshortening. Okay, so this would be something like, so if I made it that high, I believe it would be something like this. Right? And again, it doesn't extend out too much either, so it's going vertically like that and horizontally. There you go. Okay, I understand it now. See? It's a bit small and the lines are a bit crowded, so that way it probably isn't as easily understandable. But if I do it from a different angle, it should be, right? So let's do it from that different angle. Like here. This one's a bit too wide. Oh no, actually it's pretty decent. Let's see, we're nearing the end of the session, so my brain is also nearing the end of its abilities. Okay, that seems pretty accurate in length. There you go. And again, have to think about how this would look, right? So it would be something like this. Same thing here. Okay, so clearly this is the denominator that we have to be on the lookout for. But it's essentially something that is cutting out like so. And we're bringing it back. It's gonna be a bit skewed in perspective here. Something like that. Right? I don't even think that, yeah, that line did not need to exist, because we only see that line when it's an edge. So that line, this line right here, very incorrect, right? But overall, I think this is okay. I think there's definitely some proportion issues. Maybe this is, the length is a bit too much. Oh, and this is obviously angled a bit too much. It should have been more this way. So yeah, there's some things that make it look quite incorrect because this is misaligned and then that's aligned this way. So yeah, there's like little alignment issues and perspective issues that make it look unclear. But it's all right. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm gonna rest my brain. Then we have like another thing we could do here, and that should be it. I wasn't intentionally trying to fill the page at an hour, but here we are. So yeah, I'm gonna rest, and you should do as well. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna keep practicing this. Single rounding is, especially the way I'm doing it, I feel like is a great way to really get the perspective down. Or the perspective, what the fuck is going on? I'm like fucking dropping shit everywhere. The perspective of things down. Okay, let's just do another one. I guess this one has to be a bit small because we don't have much space. So something like this should be decent. And we should really take our time. So again, we'll keep it simple. I'm constantly trying to remind myself to think about perspective grid and keep the lines making sense. This one I'll keep really simple. Something like that, right? And we'll just open this up a little. Let's see, that's also rounded. And this one, there you go. But yeah, do you see how it can really create hard surfacey like objects, right? And then we can do that again here. Really trying to keep the perspective grid in mind. Really trying to keep proportion in mind. Right? Really focusing on my lines. Why do all these things rhyme? Bars. Okay. At the end of the day, just really trying to make sure it all makes sense, even when my lines mess up, like you just saw. Right? It's not perfect. And that's the thing I don't care about, right? Perfection. The obsession with perfection breeds incompetence. Sorry, the obsession with perfection breeds incompetence. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't even think it's applicable. But, okay, I've rotated this, so I'm just trying to think. Okay, what I initially thought was correct. So just trying to think about the grid lines. That's incorrect. That line should have been more narrow. See, and my lines are getting a bit wobbly now, right? But it's okay. See, so proportion definitely was affected. This should have been much thinner, and this should have been much thinner. So you see how it ended up becoming a completely different shape. So yeah, that's something I need to pay attention to, right? And then we can try another angle like here. Well, I'm basically just technically doing the same angle, so we should rotate it a bit more uniquely. Right? So let's think. What else? Yeah, my brain is definitely at its tail end here. So we could do something like that. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Okay, so that establishes quite a bit, right? Because there you go, something like that. Actually, this probably should have been a bit longer. I think it's okay. This isn't even centered. Technically, this being slightly off center is actually good because this is also slightly off centered. But it could be better, obviously. And this line was poor. Okay, so I think I know how to approach this. Okay, that's also a poor line. That's way too curved. Okay, that's also a poor line. But still, trying to keep it consistent, which is nice. These two are obviously much more aligned, even though this is a bit larger now that I look at it than this. So yeah, proportion is something I genuinely want to keep focusing on. And that's the main goal. I'm not going to move on from this single rounding until line work, proportion, perspective, and literally everything about that's good about perspective and form is mastered. So no, like I'm going to keep doing this until it looks much cleaner at the very least. But specifically focusing on lines, proportion, and like the roundings themselves, right? Being more consistent. So yeah, pages upon pages of this is going to happen. Damn, I'm really cutting it under an hour now, right now, as of late. So, I mean, I could literally always just do this again, right? I have all these different shapes I can still technically practice. So, let's do that. Which one should I do? Should I do this one again? No, that was too easy. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do that one. Okay, I think I know what angle I want to do it in. Just gotta visualize it first. Yeah, we'll do a 1-point perspective actually. Probably help a little. And then we'll go over here and do the same thing. Yeah, clearly it's the consistency right now that needs to be had, right? The consistency of, because right now I take breaks. I do little jittery breaks almost when it comes to the rounding. Which is why they don't really look that rounded, right? Like, look at this. I stop when it's actually time to round. Which is why errors occur. Technically, that is what this would look like from this side. At least I believe so. This, right? This shape from here, if I were at 1-point perspective from the top, would look like this, no? I mean, my lines are very subpar, so it's very probable that this the lines themselves are skewing the accuracy of what this would look like in this perspective. But yeah, it's okay. We'll do another one. I'm really gonna try to think for this one. Right, and what perspective do we want it in? I guess I can do it like this. Okay, so this was super inaccurate, but again, we're just trying to get the general flow. This is obviously a decent amount smaller as well. That's okay. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. Even if it's smaller, if the general proportions have accuracy to them, then that's also a good thing. But I could always stand to draw bigger, of course. But yeah, again, great session. I think I'm doing my best to. I mean, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I really enjoyed this practice. Um, I think the main thing is really just try to see everything in that box, that perspective, and rotate it properly, right? So, I think I'm making a concentrated effort to do that, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? So, as always, really fun. I hope you had a good time pushing yourself as well, right? I do think I simplified it a bit better compared to before, but this multiple rounding really shows weaknesses in my line quality, as well as consistency in proportion and just rounding, like seeing the grid, right? So fucking amazing. I'm gonna spend oodles of time on this. So with that being said, I hope you had fun. At the end of the day, I hope you pushed yourself and you had fun, right? And now, with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please give it a morning.